All right, as I'm sure many of you know, there is this guy, Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA, who goes around to college campuses and he debates mostly college kids. And he's built a huge following for being a great debater and just owning everybody and destroying liberals. And one of the things that I do think occasionally is useful to do is really to break down his arguments. And you will see that these debates are really referenda on who is better at debating. They're not really adjudications of the truth or reality. So I'm going to play one for you here, and then we're going to talk about it. This is only a minute. The topic is sort of like affirmative action, DEI hiring type practices. And Charlie Kirk went viral with this video because he made such great points. But I'm going to apply just a little bit of critical thinking, and you will see these are not really great points. Let's first look at the viral video, then we'll break it down.
So right now, the NBA is 75% black. If all of a sudden the NBA said, we want more diversity, it's too black.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want to have more diversity.
Right.
And they would say, we're not allowed to have any more than 30% of the NBA be black. Would the quality of the NBA go down?
The quality of the NBA, arguably right now, yeah, I would. But
so half of the, and I think you can see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, for
half
sure.
of the NFL is black.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden, Roger Goodell, boo, we don't like Roger Goodell. If he came and he's like, hey, diversity is our strength.
Right.
We're only going to say 30% of the NFL is black. You would have other unqualified white people that would then get positions in the NFL, and the quality of play would slip.
Right.
So you get the argument.
Yeah.
You then extrapolate that to other walks of life.
Right.
You think to yourself, let's just hire the best.
Yeah.
And the NFL does hire the best.
It should be the best no
Totally.
matter what the thing
Skin
is.
color.
Like, but I don't think there should be restrictions to anybody. As long as you're
I
good
agree.
at what you do, it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay. So the analogy here to hiring is to sports. Now, I know some of you have asked me, why is Charlie Kirk like eating and glitching and twitching and doing weird things the entire time? I have no idea. I have no clue. I noticed it. I'm not going to get into that. Let's talk about the analogy to sports. Sports are a really narrow, extreme case. Sports are not a model for all of society in any way. It's a terrible analogy. He talks about the NFL and the NBA. These are complete and total outliers. They measure pure, specialized physical skills. How fast can you run the 40? How high can you jump? How agile? What's your level of endurance? In most jobs, that sort of easily measurable physical ability is not the metric. It's a terrible analogy because in most jobs, success is based on complex, varied skills, leadership, communication, creativity, critical thinking. So when Charlie Kirk says, extrapolate my analogy from the NBA and NFL to everything, it's a terrible thing to extrapolate. You can't take a world where vertical leap and sprint speed dominate and apply it to hiring a doctor or an engineer or a teacher or a CEO. Sports leagues are the exception, not the rule. And that's why Charlie Kirk is selecting it. The best is not some pure, obvious thing outside of the world of sports. The speaker acts like it's very easy to spot the best. In regular jobs, it's not. In sports, stats like points, yards, tackles, these are completely quantitative. Hiring is completely subjective. And so that's why unconscious biases, whether they be about race or gender or increasingly about class, shape who we think is the best. And when you look historically, this is why we're even talking about this. You had entire groups, highly qualified women, highly qualified Black people and others who were systematically excluded from opportunities, not because they weren't the best, but because of bias. So this is not about seeking equality of outcome. It is about equality of opportunity. And so when we pretend that merit naturally rises without bias, just like in the NBA or the NFL, it's a complete and total fantasy, because hiring the best requires addressing the barriers that sometimes prevent the best from even being seen. You know, the concept of the fair competition that he talks about, it doesn't necessarily exist without some intervention. Charlie Kirk imagines a level playing field where everybody's already getting a fair shot. If that were true, that would be great, but it's not true. In the NBA, a poor Black teenager can get noticed if he dunks over some 7-footer at a high school game. In law, in technology, in business, in academia, you might not even get into the room without elite schooling or networking opportunities or the right mentors. And that is shaped by wealth. It's shaped to some degree, at least historically, it was by race. And so talent might be universal, but access is not. Diversity initiatives don't lower the bar. They try to expand the pool and fix a pipeline that might be broken so that then, yes, ability can decide who actually wins rather than privilege. So if you want a real meritocracy, you have to fight the advantages that exist. You can't pretend that they aren't there. Nobody is proposing hard racial quotas like Charlie Kirk describes. Saying only 30% Black players in the NBA is a ridiculous straw man, because in real life, diversity policies don't cap groups. They widen participation, and that's really the goal. The other thing is we don't need perfect representation. What I mean by that is the following. There's no doubt that even if unconscious bias plays a role, historical discrimination plays a role, etc., there can still be perfectly benign reasons why one group might be over or underrepresented in certain areas. So if you look at the population and you say, okay, 50.3% of the population is women, but as was the case at a certain point, 0% of the Senate has ever been women, right? There was a point at which there had been no female senator. A sensible person would look at that and go, okay, that doesn't make sense. There has to be something going on there that is a barrier, either ideologically or legally or something, that would explain why, despite being 50.3% of the population, there has never been a woman senator. On the other hand, you might have 38 or 42% of the Senate be women, hypothetically. We don't, but imagine that you did. And then you would say, well, 42% of the Senate is women and 50.3% of the population is women. We must fix this immediately. No, not necessarily. That may not be the case. You may actually have an explanation that is not this 0% very obvious fiasco in some areas, and that's okay. So it's a straw man to suggest that we need exact representation in every industry that mirrors population demographics. So Charlie Kirk, as usual, sounds very good. He's very well prepared, but it's bogus. It's nonsense. And a lot of college kids are falling for this stuff. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. It's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what The Echo Machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get The Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.